Hello, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham, and this is the Ingraham Angle from Los Angeles tonight. Thanks for joining us on a very busy Monday night. Two tiers of justice. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Rabid, radical left-wing activists are out wreaking havoc on America again. Now, if you want to see what a deranged, violent, modern-day Brady Bunch might look like, well, look no further than these 6 Antifa freaks. Violent, fiery riots, destroying a police car, shattering windows, tons of graffiti. All but one of those arrested in Georgia were out-of-staters. They were wannabe revolutionaries who traveled across state lines to terrorize and, they hope, to recruit and inspire others. Now, the excuse this time was to call for a night of rage and reciprocal violence against police over the killing of an activist named Manuel Esteban Terran, who was fatally shot last week by police after he shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper. Well, look, the Antifa crowd did inspire others because 20 individuals gathered in Boston, supposedly over the weekend, in solidarity with the Atlanta-based Antifa group. And they did so by vandalizing a public bandstand with vile anti-law enforcement graffiti, and officers were injured when they had to respond and clear the area. And one of those arrested was the daughter of Democrat Massachusetts Congresswoman Katherine Clark.
In Boston, the daughter of House Democratic Whip Katherine Clark was arrested during a separate anti-cop protest over the Atlanta police incident. Riley Dowell faces charges including assault with a dangerous weapon and damage of property by graffiti after she allegedly spray-painted a monument before assaulting a police officer in solidarity with the Atlanta rioters.
Now, this individual pled not guilty and was released the same day on $500 bail. Now, she's non-binary, so expect a lot of people are going to claim that a lifetime of being bullied drove this individual to do it. But our Justice Department doesn't want you to dwell on any of this, not the left-wing violence we're seeing. Well-organized, with an interstate component, done to obstruct law enforcement from doing their jobs, that's never going to be considered the threat to society that anyone who voted for Trump is. Like the man who put his feet on Pelosi's desk. Remember that picture on January 6th? Well, today he was convicted on multiple charges, and he faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Now, mind you, his most serious crime was obstructing an official government proceeding. Now, there were hundreds of people who engaged in no acts of violence on January 6th, but who were branded domestic terrorists in the media. Some of them lost their jobs and generally had their lives destroyed.
I didn't even get to go back to work. I was fired from my job at Cook Medical, and I'd been there 13 years, and they didn't even bother to ask me what my part in that day was.
Dozens of those arrested were held in solitary confinement for months in conditions described as inhumane.
There are about a little more than 3 dozen at what I call the DC Gulag. They now have been locked down 22 hours a day in their cells as they were initially. And we do have political prisoners in the nation's capital. That's not an exaggeration.
Now, still others with no criminal records who had merely attended the January 6th speeches, they were treated like enemy combatants.
I was sleeping on the couch, and 6 o'clock in the morning, I hear boom, 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 boom. FBI, open the door, we'll knock it down, or something to that effect. Yeah. And one was pointing an assault rifle at my head about 4 feet away.
Meanwhile, the only person who was shot on January 6th was that unarmed woman named Ashley Babbitt, who was killed by a U.S. Capitol Police officer. The DOJ closed that investigation in a few months and determined that the shooting was justified.
I truly believe in my heart that they know it's murder. So, I mean, They can't admit to it, so they have to just bypass it and blow by it and just act like it never happened.
Heartbreaking. And let's not forget the summer of 2020, the so-called summer of love, when approximately $2 billion in property devastation was done. Now, Real Clear Investigations did an in-depth analysis of January 6th versus the summer of 2020, and here's some of the highlights. The 2020 riots resulted in some 15 times more injured police officers and damages that were 740 times more costly than those of the Capitol riot. Dozens were held in pretrial detention for months. Remember, while the vast majority of rioters from the summer of 2020 had their charges dropped. And at least 18 individuals lost their lives in the name of supposedly peaceful protests for George Floyd. So was justice really done for these losses? Will we ever really know? Well, let's not forget that lovely pair of well-to-do young Manhattan lawyers who firebombed a New York police car. They faced a maximum of 10 years in prison, but they had their sentences downgraded to 18 to 24 months. And while we're at this conversation, on the Biden classified docs case, is the media really and truly going to keep up the pressure to have standards of justice applied equally? All we know is that 2.5 months after those initial documents were found, the FBI still hadn't done a complete surprise search of all of Biden's homes and offices. Was Jill's lingerie drawer rummaged through like Melania's was? And we're still waiting for those photos of the Biden documents that are collected and perfectly arranged for photographers like they were at Mar-a-Lago. That was a photo op. Now, the likelihood of that happening is about the same as the likelihood of the Biden DOJ tipping off CNN to report live from a raid of the home of a top Antifa organizer, with dozens of FBI SWAT team members in full gear, helmets and all, and helicopters hovering overhead. Now, the goal from January 7th, 2021 to today is to discourage conservatives from getting involved, from any of you from attending rallies or even publicly supporting strong conservative candidates. The not so implicit message is, unless you're an establishment Republican, think someone like Mitt Romney, unless you support gender fluidity in all the curricula in schools and transgenderism, unless you supported the COVID lockdowns and all the vaccine mandates, you better watch your step. Now, you may be 17 or 70, and even if you're not charged with a crime, you could be canceled, you could be kicked out of school, you could lose a scholarship, or you could have your professional world turned upside down. So none of us should be surprised that so many Americans now believe that there are two tiers of justice in the United States: a generally more lenient one for those with the correct political motives, and a far more draconian one for those who supported President Trump or who simply opposed the left's policies. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.